Hi, welcome to Healthy Living. I'm Dr. Donald Pelto, and I'm here with Mike Stanton, the owner of Fit Living here in Worcester. So, Mike, thank you for coming to the show.
Yeah, no problem.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and about your interest in health.
So my story probably starts, local guy, grew up in Worcester, right off of Burncoat Street, and then went to St. John's for high school.
Yay, St. John's.
And yeah, great education, life lessons, the whole thing. And then was active in high school, but wasn't a student athlete or anything like that, but liked to run, liked to be active. My whole time growing up, I definitely wasn't like a video game kind of kid. And went down to Bryant for a business degree in Rhode Island. And I don't know, it was like senior year, coming out, applying everywhere I could, looking for, your corporate America job and just not finding anything. It was right after 2008. It was a scary time to come out of,
I bet.
come out of college. And I just found myself in bed one night, like this fear of like, what if my interviewing skills aren't enough to get me a foot in the door?
Yeah.
And that's when I really started to think about entrepreneurship and maybe doing something for myself. And got a job at a restaurant, paying my student loans, that kind of thing. But then I really started to look at, where could I get into an opportunity that I could work for myself and didn't have to rely on interviews and this sort of thing. And it basically led me back to, my mom's been doing this business from home for as long as I can remember. And so, took a look at it, liked the idea of health. I certainly, after college, living that kind of lifestyle of going out 3-4 nights a week.
Say, were you healthy? Were you like a pizza guy, or you're?
I was, I offset my bad eating habits with going to the gym. So I'd go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, but I didn't look any different because it was just ruining it with what I ate.
Yeah.
So a business where it involved health, to me, made sense because it was going to keep me healthy if it was my livelihood. If it was just on my own and I was a banker, I probably wasn't so interested in my health. But where my business was health and I could work for myself, it seemed like the best of both worlds.
So basically, you went to college. After college, how long after did you just start this business of Fit Living?
Well, it was about 6 months. We started down in Connecticut, actually. Same model. People could come in, get a healthy shake. We do all sorts of things. We do weekly weigh-ins with our clients. We hold challenges, which I'll get into a little bit later. Just kind of like a healthy social club. People can come, they can converse, they can get a healthy option for breakfast or lunch. And we loved it down in Connecticut, but we're from this area. It was a smaller rural town. We kind of squeezed out of, we got the most out of the town as far as, business development. And so we said, let's move back home. And so that was 5 years ago.
Okay.
So we've been in business now for 5 years on Lincoln Street. It's me and my mom who run it. So it's a gift and a curse. It's awesome working with your family, but at the same time, every day, we definitely, we go back and forth. People say it's like a reality TV show. Yeah.
And so you're on Lincoln Street here in Worcester area, and then so is it your clients? Are they people usually that are on their way to work or on their lunch break? Do they vary? How do you get clients?
It's a mix. We have a lot of people who, instead of going through the drive-through, they'll come and they'll get a healthy option with us for breakfast or for lunch. Some people, they may work in any of the surrounding towns. They may work downtown Worcester. They may work in Westboro. They may work all the way in Boston but live in the area, and they just stop in on a weekly basis, weigh in, do a little consultation about how their plan is going for the week, pick up products if they need it, that sort of thing. So it's really a wide compass of different ways that people
can use it.
Right. And then how we get our clients mostly is word of mouth referrals. We do minimal advertising, but for the most part, people will tell you I'm at the gas station always talking to people. Grocery stores, hey, can I grab the shopping cart for you? By the way, come check out our business sometime. We're helping get the community healthier. Any relationships like that we can build, we try and do it organically like that.
Yeah. And what's great about your business is that it's focusing on health and weight loss. That's going to be something that everyone's going to always need.
Yeah. So when we talk to people, 7 out of 10 in this country are overweight. And we, it's not about what you see in the mirror and those things. It's really about how you feel, and as you know, I'm sure you would say, your health.
Yeah.
So if being overweight, or more importantly, obese, is going to mean greater cause of heart disease, cancers, strokes, diabetes, all these kind of things, that's really what we're going after. You know, if you're uncomfortable about the way you look or that sort of thing, yeah, that's a added benefit of weight loss, but it's really about your health.
Yeah, yeah. So is this, just for those that are watching, so everyone's curious, so in terms of what's the best way to lose weight in your opinion, you know, how does this business help that? You talked about a few things. You talked about weigh-ins, you talked about accountability, the shakes and things like that. So
yeah, so the first thing I'd say that we run into most commonly is people think it's about their workout routine.
So working out.
Right, so they'll say, you know, I'm in the gym 5 days a week. Or, you know, the scale's not moving the way I want it to, but I know it's because I haven't been going to the gym like I usually do, but, you know, work is busy. Here's the thing, we're always gonna have stuff going on in our life, distractions, all kinds of things. So working out 2 hours a day, 5-6 days a week may not be realistic.
It's not efficient either.
Right, right. So, I mean, what we call it is 80% nutrition, 20% fitness. Is exercise important? Of course it is. You're going to feel great. It's going to help with toning, all that sort of stuff. But the majority of issues that people are coming to for their health and weight loss really can be solved mostly through, you know, changing their diet.
Yeah. And then in terms of this is just one aspect, right, of changing the diet. So one aspect, this would be kind of a shake for breakfast, for example, instead of something else. Maybe, I guess what the majority of people might be doing would go to Dunkin' Donuts and get a coffee and a bagel. So this is something, a healthier alternative for that.
Yeah, so we see a drive-through a lot, or skip.
Okay, so
Skipping is
skipping.
probably one of the most common things, you know, when we go through a day in the life of what people eat. Well, I usually don't have breakfast. I have a light lunch, and then I load up at dinner time, right? That's probably the average American.
Yeah.
So with this, replacing a meal for a shake, it's more balanced, right? It's easy. Might take a minute or two to make your breakfast. And just that convenience factor, I think, in today's society. And then, you know, probably one of the most common questions I get, well, you know, if I lose weight with your program, then if I stop the shakes,
yeah,
will
then
I
I'll
gain
come
it
back.
back?
Yeah.
Right, well, two things can happen. You can stop and just substitute it with a healthy diet of whole foods, you know, some eggs or some oatmeal in the morning or those kind of things, and you'll maintain all the results you've got. Or you can go back to the old ways of skipping or going through the drive-through. Then what would you expect other than to gain the weight back?
Correct. So that whole aspect of, and this is what you talked about, you have kind of meetups, is it, or like accountability groups there too sometimes?
Yeah, so probably I think one of the best things we offer, because, you know, you don't have to do our nutrition program to be in the weight loss challenge. It's a generic challenge. You can do Weight Watchers or any of the other programs that are out there. You know, disclaimer, people who are on the program with us usually win. You know, just we find that it works great.
To get better results.
But you can do whatever you want to be in the challenge as long as it's healthy.
I think people do better with challenges.
Yeah,
anything.
you know, there's some money at stake, so you can win cash if you lose the most. With the rest of the group, you build this camaraderie because everyone's in it for the same reason.
Are there different teams, like one team competing, or are you all on the same team?
It's interesting you said that because we've thought about doing teams.
Yeah.
But usually it's every man or woman for themselves, and it goes by percentage of weight. So someone that's got a large amount doesn't necessarily have an advantage over someone that just wants to tone or drop 10 or 15. But we teach each week. So it's usually an online video chat of in the kitchen. Maybe we're cooking up some healthy, quick options. Going to a grocery store, maybe going through produce or some of the aisles where people think things are healthy, and then we look at the labels and say, you didn't see the sodium on it.
They get together and do this, or you send them videos?
It's gotten so big that we now do an online class.
Oh, cool.
Like a Zoom, a video chat.
Yeah.
Before, we would bring them to the grocery store. We'd get the okay from Stop and Shop or Shaw's, and they'd let us walk around like a little field trip.
Neat,
yeah.
Neat. So you got this big group, and you send them out like weekly videos or monthly?
Yeah, weekly.
And so you can learn from that, and then they do they can get together and chat with each other. And if they have questions, they can ask you, or there's other people that they can ask.
Yeah. So as a coach, they get our support all the time, but what we found is really helpful too is we have a Facebook support group
so they can
with
share with each other.
about 2,500 people
Wow.
from all over. So they're getting 24-hour support about, if it's product-based, if it's recipe-based. A lot of times people, hey, I'm, losing motivation with my same snacks every day. Could someone throw some healthy snack options in there? Yeah. So people, are willing to contribute.
And then how important, some people when they talk about weight loss, they say you shouldn't weigh yourself every day. Or some say you shouldn't weigh yourself at all because it's inches and not pounds. What are your thoughts on that? How important is weighing in? And
I tell people once a week, twice a week, if they're like a neurotic person with that, like they like to weigh every day.
Yeah.
Because we find that if you weigh every day, it's kind of like a mental block. And you're going to get discouraged because, as you probably know, the scale will fluctuate up and down depending your sodium intake and all these
water
different
weight
things.
And things. Yeah.
Right. So once a week, twice a week at max. But not weighing, it's kind of like taking on the attitude of ignorance is bliss.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the people who go to the doctors once a year and you gain that 5 pounds every year over 10 years is 50 pounds. Right? That's pretty significant. So you definitely need to weigh to measure it.
Yeah, in tracking, I think everything that we track gets better.
Yeah.
And how about, do you guys encourage to track food? There's a lot of these different apps to track how many, the calories and things like that.
Yeah, so I'll give a tip at the end that I think really anyone out there, if they're kind of wanting to see a result with their weight, whatever that's up or down, this will help them.
Okay.
But
so we have to stay watching.
Yes. The food tracking thing, like if we put people on a shake, the only thing different then, the shakes are controlled, is going to be the food.
Yeah.
So we have to see, if it's not working, that's the only way to see, and usually it's in the food. We say, hey, if we put you on an island and we gave you, some clean whole foods in these shakes, and
you'd lose weight.
Water,
there's no other way.
You have to lose weight. So it's got to be something that you're not writing down that's going in your mouth. Mm-hmm. And it's usually like they're cooking for their kids and they have a couple bites, or they were driving home from work and they didn't think that mindless snacking on the way home from work counts.
Yeah.
Things like that. So our slogan is, if you bite it, write it.
If you bite it, write it. Good, good. And then, so then the main focus is, I know there's two things. When I went there was tea and then there's the shake. Do they work together? Are they totally separate?
I say it's like your bagel and coffee.
Okay.
So the tea is actually comprised of a digestive aid, which is aloe. So just like, when you put it on your skin, it heals. When you drink it, it heals internally. So a lot of people out there have, all kinds of compromised digestive systems.
Flora, right? They talk about is it the flora?
Yeah.
Does it help the flora, like a probiotic?
Probiotic. But, between acid reflux and indigestion and, all these kind of digestive issues, aloe is a natural plant-based thing that can really help. Okay. So we put that in the tea. The tea is like your coffee, but it's tea, has some metabolism boosting properties. And then your shake is like your bagel or your muffin or whatever you would get, but a lot healthier and about 200 calories.
Okay, so it's less than, probably half the calories of something else.
Calories, but more importantly, more protein, less carbohydrates.
And that's the thing, because if you track your calories, a calorie isn't a calorie.
No. Right? So, there's a lot of drinks out there that are low calorie, but they might be 30 grams of sugar. So the calories, like
Okay. So for Fit Living, who are kind of the best clients? Is it someone that's already eating well and that just wants to lose the last few pounds? Is it someone that's really needs to lose a lot of weight? Who are the best ones that you've been able to help the most?
I picked a couple people who are local to Shrewsbury so that the residents can relate. They might see these people in their everyday occurrences. The one in the top corner is actually my mom. So she's the reason I got into this. She's been with the program that we use for over 30 years, like 35 years on the products. That was her at 29. She certainly doesn't look 29 there now, just turned 65 and goes to the gym and, certainly doesn't look her age, feels great.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is a testament of good nutrition and eating right and supplementation and all that kind of stuff. But to your answer, the perfect client is really the one that's really serious about making a change.
It's motivated, right?
Yeah, they're fed up with the way they feel or the way they look because, you might say, oh, someone that's over 100 pounds, they're going to be the perfect client because they have a lot of weight to lose, but sometimes they're not ready. Yeah. And, so The other person we have, like I love when families do it, whether it's parents and kids or couples, because a lot of times if one spouse isn't on board, it can be a challenge. Like you really got to be committed to your plan if your spouse isn't in the game with you.
Yeah.
So Greg and Maggie here, they're from Shrewsbury, and combined they've lost 80 pounds. They've lost 40 pounds each.
Wow. Wow.
Same thing. They've taken on the fitness side of it. Just really, we do shakes, we do teas, but we really call it healthy, active lifestyle. Like eating healthier foods, making sure you're getting a little bit of fitness, proper hydration, kind of the whole package.
Yeah, yeah. Now, it's just something people that are listening. Now, what about safety? Is there any problems with I don't know, the shakes or the teas or anything like that you need to be careful? I think of if you have diabetes or insulin or things like that, or
right. So what we always say to people is, it's a meal replacement. So I mean, people might think of it as it's chemicals or this or that. We see it, and we could be biased, but we see it no differently as food.
Okay.
And we see it this way because the doctors on our medical board, 30 years into studying meal replacements and supplementation and that kind of thing, they're heads of their field at UCLA. Like these aren't people that they're finding on, late night infomercials or that kind of thing. These are like well-renowned in their field of study.
Yeah.
And if they can get behind it, and I can get behind it because I've taken the products for 25 years.
Yeah.
So I'm 30, been drinking the aloe since 5 years old, feel phenomenal. But isn't it funny how people don't ask about when they're going through the drive-through what's on the label?
right?
Or that, well, I got to consult my physician. Well, you don't consult your physician when you ate that Big Mac last night.
Yeah. That's true. That's a really good point. I think food. They say food is the best medicine, right? If you could use that, you could heal a lot of things.
It's the best and the worst.
Yeah. If you're not, it's the worst medicine too. So let's go over. Everyone likes these tips, and you mentioned one before. So what are the best tips you have for weight loss and for staying healthy?
Yeah. So one that I'd say is pretty simple that everyone could kind of follow, and it's not just weight loss. This is a healthy maintenance plan as well, but I call it 100 times 3.
Okay.
Right. So 100 grams of protein or more. And again, this is what I feel. This isn't, the golden standard, or this is just what we see has worked for people. 100 grams of protein or more throughout the day, 100 grams or less of carbohydrates throughout the day, and 100 ounces of water or more.
Okay.
Water, no matter what your goal is very, very important for energy, for skin, for everything. It's going to help. Limiting the carbohydrates, we found that I think no matter what program is out there you look at, they're all going to be somewhat of carbohydrate restriction.
Yep.
Some are more drastic than others. And we see that a higher level of protein keeps you fuller, but also as people get older, it's going to sustain their lean muscle along with exercise. Right? If they're not taking in enough protein, it's going to be very tough to keep that lean muscle that you have in your body as you get into your 40s, 50s, and 60s. So 100 plus for protein, 100 less minus for carbs, and 100 plus for water.
Perfect. That's a good tip. What other ones? Give me some other ones.
Portion control.
Okay. So does it work really to use a smaller plate and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things like that. Smaller plate. The one that I like is when you go out to eat, maybe get half of it wrapped up. Yeah. Because especially nowadays, portions are getting bigger and bigger, and restaurants get notoriety for giving a great portion because it's a good deal. You're getting a lot of value for what you're paying. Yeah. So there's no issue with that. I have no complaint about more food. Just make sure you're not eating it all at once.
Oh, yeah.
So if you get, a massive chicken cutlet or that sort of thing, eat half. Yeah. Take half home.
I think that's a good one. Perfect. And the last question I have for you, if you could have known one thing about your health 5 years ago that you know now, what would that have been that would make you happy?
Well, one thing that I've really learned by reading and different things that I listened to over the past couple of years is the potential of the human body. Physically, we can do a lot more. We're capable of doing a lot more than we think we can do physically. Yeah. And I'm testing that out with some ultra marathons and things like that.
Wonderful.
But just the body's healing properties. Just because someone says, "Oh, you have this condition," it doesn't mean that, you have to write yourself into the grave. Like really looking for alternative things out there and people who have conquered it through food and changing their diets up. It's amazing what changing your diet can do for health conditions and how you feel and even mentally. My belief is a lot of the mental things that people struggle with.
And things.
It's, that imbalance of omega-3s and omega-6s and, don't want to go over people's heads, but, our foods have a lot to do with that.
I've read somewhere our food isn't the way it used to be 30 years ago. Like it's depleted of a lot of the nutrients.
Right.
That's what I hear.
Right. So all you have to do is ask my grandmother, and she gets a steak, and she says it's not the same steak it was when I was a kid. So I don't know how much is to that because I can't. I don't know what a steak was like 30 years ago.
We're not old enough to know that.
But I mean, with the farms and having to keep things preserved and all that, it just makes sense that So it's difficult to get everything you need. And here's the thing, there's so many options out there. That's what I would really want to get across to people is there's not one magic way of doing it. We found this way to be the best way for us because it's worked for us personally. And we have 4 people who have lost 100 pounds with us and numerous.
Yeah.
But there's lots of different ways that you can get healthy. Correct. We're all on the same, we're all taking different paths to get to the same,
there's the
same destination. Yeah.
And this is the path that's worked best for you and for your
exactly,
clients and things like that.
Yeah.
And what do you see the future of fit living in your business and things like that? What do you see the future being?
Why couldn't every town have a little place where people could congregate, talk about, healthy eating, have a shake, weigh in, have that accountability partner? Every town could do it.
It makes sense. You have that accountability and it's a good atmosphere, kind of like a coffee house, but for shakes. And you need that. You need that. Well,
yeah.
Good. Anything else you want to share with the audience?
I love the education part of it because it's something that you can do for 12 weeks and take what you've learned and implement it hopefully the rest of your life.
The rest of your life.
But, because we're, creatures of habit and very cyclical, we'll run another challenge come January 1st.
Perfect.
And just to keep people on track.
I think that's great. So
there's a website, call or text me. This is my personal number if anyone has any questions about it.
Perfect.
And let's keep, working on getting the community a little bit healthier.
Very good. Thank you so much, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.